the opposition. Anyone try to touch, then he must get crushed. Saying you can get with us, that's ridiculous. Watch me break, hold, dominate the ring. Have a stun like I swing when I'm knocking you out. Or I'm holding to the mat till I'm tapping you out. Tap out.
Welcome back to this edition of the Ultimate Combat Experience. It's episode 2 of the finals of round 4. What that means is the fights were so good, we had to put this into 2 shows. We couldn't do it in one. Tell them what we got in store for them tonight, John.
Hey, tonight you got Israel Avina versus Shea Peterson, Zimmer versus Gubler, Postman Adam Faulkner versus Brad Bad Taylor, and then you have the militant Brian Garlick versus the People's Warrior.
That's our main event. A lot of bad blood's been stood up between those guys. We're at our new time, 10 o'clock. Make sure to make a note of it for future purposes. But the first fight, who we got coming up?
Hey, Israel Avina versus Shea Peterson.
It's the little pipsqueak division. These guys, I love to watch them. This fight's brought to you by Night Transportation. If you're interested in truck driving, give them a call, 1-800-701-8689. Check this first fight out. It's a lot of fun.
In round 4, the Ultimate Combat opened its doors to a new division, which didn't need much space. The Super Flyweight division let all the little guys into the big competition. The first match ever featured Israel Izzy Avena taking on the Great White Hype Ben Hessheimer. Both of these fighters were out to prove that big fights do come out of small packages. The fight began with some dazzling acrobatics from Hessheimer, but soon after, Avena took control. Avena quickly choked out Hessheimer and left the Great White Hype rocking to a different tune. Izzy was proud and confident and called out anyone else who wanted to size up to the challenge. The little big man, Shea Peterson, a skilled boxer, stepped up to the plate and proclaimed that no challenge was too big for him. These two fighters will step into the ring tonight to see who is the toughest little man around in tonight's NHB Super Flyweight Championship. Tim Hughes along with Mike Stidham and Rob Rovita, and here's that little guy you were talking about, Mike. Small in stature, big in attitude.
Hey, this kid's a great kid, too. When he come in to sign up to fight, he's wearing dress clothes, really sharply dressed, and his mom's working his corner tonight, so we'll see how Shea Peterson fares in the no-holds-barred.
My style of fighting is just straight brawling, so I didn't really need much preparing because I've never prepared for before. So basically, I'm just going to get in there and do my best. I mean, no training whatsoever, just straight from the street, so I should be able to get it done. I'm not trying to take it to the ground, and I didn't come to lose, so.
Did you say his mom's working his corner?
Yeah, she showed up at the first of the night and said she was working his corner and didn't know anything about fighting, wanted a little bit of advice. So.
Should bring his lunch?
He's 5'5", 118. He doesn't eat much for lunch, I'll tell you that. And this should be interesting because both of these guys, Mike, will tell you they get most of their experience, if not all of it, from the streets.
Izzy's had his fair share of experience on the street. They call him Izzy. Israel Avena is one of the great characters in this show for sure.
5'5", 135 as he comes in, and you can tell he's in good spirits tonight, can't you?
I just really been running and working on calisthenics, you know, so I don't wear out in the ring. Yeah, I don't really think I have it down, but I think I got enough for this kind of fighting. You know, if I was to step up, say, professionals, you know, you'd have to work. That's a full-time job. This is just like a stress, you know, to relieve some stress. Except I could hit and I could get hit back. You know? Well, this time I think I have to keep my guard up. Last time I dropped my guard, I got hit. So this time I think I'm just going to rush in, but not as fast, but put my hands up and just take it from there. Whoever wants to bring it, bring it.
That's a big bark. I thought he was going to say more along the lines of Yo quiero Taco Bell.
That was a big bark out of little Izzy.
Well, he outweighs it. I don't know. Is that right? 115?
Yeah. They're just both little guys, you know, and Izzy's made famous the Izzy shake there. If he wins, we'll see a little celebration shake out of his.
I thought it was the Izzy shuffle.
Something like that.
Lonnie Foster's going to be our referee and give him some last-minute instructions. It's not very often that Lonnie is a referee standing there looking down on guys, but that's the case here tonight.
Hey, Izzy's a big guy and on the inside, but he's a real proud kid, and he really enjoys himself in the ring.
Well, this will be interesting to see which way it goes. Shea with his mom in one corner, and Izzy ready to go. Comes out swinging.
Izzy with Mama Salvador in his corner. These guys, these little guys are a lot of fun to watch. We call it the Pipsqueak division, but these kids come out bombing.
Well, and you heard Izzy say that he knows the last time he got into the ring, he didn't protect himself very well, and he's having some of those same problems right here.
I think he was doing a little better job of keeping his hands up, but this is what Izzy likes, is that front headlock. He choked down. Oh, wow, that was a big throw.
Man, that's a dangerous way to land.
That was a big throw. Shea Peterson, a strong little kid.
No kidding. And now, with that front headlock, Izzy's got him on a pretty good choke, although Shea's turned his head to get out of that, I think, or take some of the leverage off anyway.
Izzy's got it on pretty tight. He needs to learn how to sit in his guard and pull him down into that choke, but he throws it on there. It's tough to get that thing off.
This is what's so much fun about these little guys is you don't see the big guys that get in the ring throw each other around quite this much. And look at that move.
Look at his head. Does he have a spine?
Oh, man, there's a tap.
Yeah. Israel had that thing on like a vice grip. He was not letting go of that head.
Wow, Shea flipped over thinking he was going to get himself out of that, and I think he just complicated the situation there, and he knew immediately that he had to tap to save himself some future injury.
Well, where's the shuffle? I want to see the Izzy shuffle here. That's
that little smile on his face pointing over at Israel saying, you got me that time, buddy.
But I'll be back.
Mike, didn't you tell me that this flyweight division, they train in a
Watch
hamster wheel to
watch
get their
this
cardio
land.
up?
Oh.
I don't think you're going to make Izzy mad, Robert. Put that choke on you, too.
There's where Shea flipped over, and, man, he just complicated. He threw a couple of punches and then knew he was in big trouble, and taps out there.
I had a tiger there, Izzy. I just want to hear that bark again.
So there's your winner of our first match tonight, and we told you it was going to be a lot of fun to watch the super flyweight champion, Israel Izzy Avena. Are we going to get to see that little shake? Well, we'll see here. Maybe after the post-fight interviews, huh?
Oh, he's got to do the shake. I'll feel robbed.
Our post-fight interview sponsored by Night Transportation.
All right, we're here with Shea. Shea, buddy. Hey, you guys came out dropping bombs. You had that street fight game going, man. You look like you knew what you were doing in there.
Too much wrestling, man. I couldn't compete with that.
Hey, but you know, now you know what you kind of have to do to get your butt back in here, right? And be a champion.
I'll be back.
You know, it takes a little bit more than just street fighting to get in here and do it. But hey, still, you put on a show, you drop some bombs, and you got tapped out. But hey, you got a future, right? I mean, you can always come back and fight again, right?
I'll be back, man.
You'll be back? So you're not done?
Hell no.
All right, brother. Well, nice job tonight. Good job. We'll see you later.
Now Izzy's post-fight comments sponsored by Custom Fit Nutrition tonight.
All right, you know, Izzy, I got to see the shimmy, baby. It's a little tired tonight. Didn't have much shimmy in your shake there.
Nah, I'm tired. He slammed me a couple times.
That's your patented move, though, throwing that chokehold on like a rodeo king.
Yeah, I held on. Flipping around, I still got it.
Tell you what, baby, so you fought first, you got it out of the way, now you're ready to party then, eh?
Yeah, you know it.
Hey, you're the light super flyweight champion of Utah. How's it feel?
Feels good. Bring it.
Welcome back. We're going into kickboxing now, Johnny Ritchie. You know, this is one of those fights that I have a hard time watching because both of them train out of my gym. They're both like, they're not kids, but they're like brothers, man. I love both these guys. Adam Faulkner and Brad Taylor. What do you know about these guys?
Hey, Adam Faulkner, undefeated in the ring in Ultimate Combat. This kid is phenomenal. He's a warrior. He's absolutely the guy to beat.
But the guy who's come closest to beat him is Brad Taylor. The last time they fought was way back in round 2, and what a great fight it was. Check it out. I'm sure it's going to be just as good.
The lightweight kickboxing division is full of competitors. One of those competitors is Bad Brad Taylor, who is looking to win it all in round 4. Taylor knows the competition is stiff and is ready to go the distance with anybody who stepped in his way. He had to do just that in his first fight with Rocco Racuzzo Arcado, who took him the distance and gave him all he could handle in a 3-round kickboxing war. Arcado put up a great fight and knocked Taylor down to the canvas throughout this grueling match. Taylor came back from the knockdown and laid a beating of his own. Taylor prevailed from the match with a unanimous decision and moved on to face his next challenger. That challenger would be the Galliant Knight, Joseph Archuleta, a patient boxer that posed dangerous striking abilities. Archuleta and Taylor, who are friends and sparring partners, were looking to keep it strictly business and pull no punches in this semifinals kickboxing match. This fight resumed where Taylor's last fight left off, in an all-out punching war. Taylor landed some devastating kicks early on, but Archuleta was quick to answer with body blows and some kicks of his own.
We told each other, let's go out and get 100% because whoever wins is moving on.
He's got some powerful leg kicks, and I'm gonna need a couple weeks to recuperate. Mike could give me a couple weeks.
This war continued throughout the second and third round. The fight was so close that once again it was decided by the judges' scorecards, although this time the decision went to Joseph Archuleta. Archuleta won the fight, but lost the war as he sustained injuries during the bout, which meant he could not continue, and Taylor would move on to the championship fight. Meanwhile, on the other side of the lightweight bracket, the current undisputed champion, Adam the Postman Faulkner, was tearing his way through the competition. His first challenger would be the Blue Devil, Cisco Vigil. Vigil came in with a resume of a street fighter and claimed his street smarts were enough to get the job done. Faulkner laughed at the claim and assured his fans that training and hard work would prevail. Training indeed prevailed as Faulkner beat up Vigil in the first round of the fight. Vigil did not come out for the second round, which left Faulkner moving on to face his next challenger, Jamel J. Jarvis.
I ain't gonna take it easy on him just because he seemed like a nice guy.
Jarvis came in confident, preaching he would do the one thing that would bring the Postman down. Although like the rest, Jarvis quickly realized just how quick and strong Faulkner really is. Faulkner took control of the match and showed Jarvis how deep his arsenal of kicks and punches really is. Faulkner knocked out Jarvis and once again moved on to the finals. Tonight, we see Bad Brad Taylor challenge the current champ, Adam the Postman Faulkner, for the lightweight kickboxing championship. Well, as you heard a moment ago, we have an interesting situation, Mike, going into finals tonight because Brad Taylor actually comes in on a loss to the finals night.
Brad, actually, I take full responsibility for that loss. I was working his corner that night, showed up, I had to deal with some other situations. When I got there, I gave Brad all the wrong advice, thinking he was ahead, but Brad Taylor is no slouch and is very deserving of being in the finals tonight.
5'5", 135.
Yeah, we fought before Sandy Station. I don't know if you remember those fights. It went into decision there, and it also went into decision in the Ultimate Combat round 1. So we'll see what happens tonight.
So what is your plan? What do you plan on coming out and doing? Chopping down the tree like you have done before? Is that kind of you?
That's my bread and butter. It's kind of natural to me. So yeah, you'll probably see that leg kick. Just good luck, and I got a lot of respect for the guy.
You guys used to do fights at Sandy Station?
That wasn't us. Hey, old Brad Taylor, though, I tell you what, and Joseph Archuleta will be the first to tell you, whenever you fight this kid, your legs remember it for a couple of weeks.
Well,
kid's got great leg kicks.
He's coming in with a lot of confidence. There aren't many guys out there that'll go 3 rounds more than one time or one any time with Adam Faulkner.
Is that Joe, the dork Yuri, behind him with the Postman shirt?
Yeah, it must be.
He's part of the show. Come on.
Hey, Adam Faulkner is everything he's been built to be. He's a great champion. He's a humble kid. This is going to be a great fight.
Yeah, it's actually the third time we fought. First time went 3 rounds, went to a decision, and he got the decision on that. And the second time we fought went 3 rounds also to another decision. And I got the decision on that. So we'll see what happens tonight, but I don't plan on it going 3 rounds. Yeah, I'll probably go out, throw a few leg kicks. I know he's a really strong leg kicker, so I'll probably just try to counter off his leg kicks and, just go out there and see what I can do, wear him down a little bit and go to work. I don't plan on losing. I won't underestimate anybody, no matter how many times I fought him, how many times I beat him. It's the same thing. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to fight hard and I'm going to fight to win because I don't plan on giving up that title anytime soon.
So the verdict's out. Did he say he lost? The Postman's not invincible?
This is way back
a long
when.
time ago.
That's when you guys used to wear the 10-gallon hats at Sandy Station. That's why, okay.
Look at the matchup, weight, height. You can tell why they are so closely matched before, and they come in with similar objectives here to kind of work at the legs of the other fighter, and I think that's what makes this so interesting.
Well, they have the same instructor, too. These guys have been training in the same gym under the same roof for I don't know how many years now. Both great kids, both very similar fighting styles, but I tell you, they don't hold anything back when they get in the ring against each other, and they'll lay it all out on the line tonight.
Scheduled for 3 2-minute rounds, and we're underway with the first bell here.
Right off the bat, both of them are throwing those leg kicks.
I think there's going to be a lot of meeting of the shins probably midair in this one.
Could be. These guys know a lot about each other. I think they're both very familiar with each other's style. This is one of the few times that both these guys aren't giving up a lot of weight. These guys usually fight much larger opponents, and tonight they're very close in weight.
You heard Adam say he wanted to counter off of the kicks coming at him, but there haven't been too many of those. There's a good front push kick.
One of the things we worked on with Adam is defending the leg kicks and then countering off them, and he's gotten really good at that. One thing, you show Adam something once, and he picks it right up.
See, Brad keeping his distance here, obviously very respectful of the power of those kicks coming from, well, there's a nice little spinning back kick that almost made contact.
One thing about Brad Taylor we talked about before is I've never seen him spar or fight and not get a bloody nose. His nose bleeds almost at a drop of a hat, and I'm sure we'll see a little blood coming out of it again tonight.
So we shouldn't. Oh, there's a nice right hand that knocks Faulkner down, and I think Ethan's going to rule it as a slip.
Well, that was a close call. That was a direct result of the punch.
Sure
Even though
was.
Adam was caught on his heels there, that to me is a flash knockdown. You could have called that. Could be a big call later in the fight.
Certainly didn't stun Adam to the point where he would need an 8 count, but
Not at all,
you're right. That's a quick decision there.
Well, one of those things that I like to see referees do is they don't want to dictate the outcome of a fight, and Ethan, is satisfied to let the fighters dictate the outcome here. So, I guess you can't really fault the decision there.
That seemed like a quick round to me, but neither one of these guys appear to be breathing too hard at this point.
That was a quick round. This is our Two Cats Tattoos combat cam here. Shows some of the slow-mo action from round 1, and nice spinning back kick, as you pointed out, Tim, from Brad Taylor there.
Yeah, I guess he did make contact. It looked like just from the response of
slow-mo of that there.
Come on, guys, pay attention.
I just love Cammy.
It looked like for a second there in actual time that he didn't make good contact, but he did. He got to the head of Adam Faulkner. So Brad Taylor, nice little kick there in the first round. Looks like Adam's more comfortable using his fist tonight than Brad is.
Yeah, I'd still like to see Adam straighten his punches up a little bit. He throws them out, looping just a little bit. If he'd straighten them up, he'd cut the little time off him just a little bit. Got to Brad there, stunned him a little bit.
Got him again. Couple of right hands over the top as Brad gets a little off balance, and that's when Adam was talking about countering off of those kicks. You want to catch the guy while maybe he's a little out of position to defend himself.
So, and Brad does that too. If he takes a good shot, a lot of times he'll shell up a little bit and give his opponent an opportunity to lay a couple more big shots on him. I'd like to see him rotate out, circle away, and rather than what he's doing right here, staying up against the ropes, he needs to circle off the ropes and get out of that line of fire from Adam Faulkner.
He was circling the wagons there to get out of the way of the Indians, I'll tell you. He was up against the ropes, though, in 2 different exchanges there, and Adam tries to put on a little spinning kick of his own.
Yeah, it was a nice kick, but Brad Taylor, we see him fight off the ropes a little too much, I think. He spends a little time with his back against the ropes. He seems comfortable there. Muhammad Ali had the rope-a-dope theory, but Brad Taylor's not quite as good as Muhammad Ali at that, so nice spinning back fist there, though.
No, you're right about that, and when now that you have mentioned that, in watching, keep an eye on Brad Taylor. He does. He walks right up against the ropes and then leans on them as Faulkner comes in, so he does appear to like to fight that way.
Yeah, Brad Taylor got caught with a nice shot there from Adam Faulkner. Brad Taylor does that. He springboards off the ropes quite a bit, and it's good. It's a good tactic, but you can't use it quite as frequently as he does there. And you can see a little blood from the nose we talked about earlier.
Not a sign that he's hurt in any way, because as you mentioned, you see that every time he steps into the ring. But he obviously got stunned by one of those right or left hands from Adam a second ago. There's another one that makes contact, too.
Brad's kind of a strange kid in the sense that he'll take a shot and it stuns him and it puts him down, but he always gets back up. He never really gets knocked out. He just gets his bell rung a little bit.
Well, as we told you, they've gone complete 3 rounds in 2 previous fights. It looks like they may go that way tonight, barring a knockdown or a knockout on somebody's part, but that's the end of our second round.
Once again, we got the Two Cats Tat slow-mo combat cam here. It's going to show some of the action from round 2. One thing I noticed there is Joseph Archuleta was working Brad Taylor's corner. We talked about that. He's the guy who knocked Brad Taylor off, but Brad actually injured him, so Joseph wasn't able to come into the finals.
And there's Brad, as we talked about, using those ropes for leverage there, but
a little too much.
Appearing to be comfortable in that whole thing. We'll have round 3 of this fight coming up in just a minute. Welcome back to the Ultimate Combat Experience. We're getting ready for round number 3 between Adam Faulkner and Bad Brad Taylor. This has been a good one so far, Mike.
Close to first rounds, although Adam Faulkner had the knockdown in round 2, so give him the edge there. The questionable knockdown in round 1. This could be a very tight matchup. I see Adam out ahead by 1 point right now.
And both of these guys, obviously, at this point, will be wanting to let it all hang out so that if it does go to a judge's scorecard, they make some kind of an impact on that decision.
You know, one thing, we get criticized sometimes about some of the kickboxing matches we have here. This is certainly not one that's worthy of any criticism. These guys come out, clean fights, they're entertaining, a lot of action, and both these guys are very talented fighters.
Adam Faulkner trying to put on that spinning back kick again, and we joke about it sometimes because Adam really likes to do that for the crowd a couple of times during a fight, and that one just, he didn't really have it set up well enough to get it done.
We've talked about it. He needs to set it up much, much better. It's a nice technique to use in the third round here where you can see your opponent's tired, so his reaction time is going to be down a little bit, but he threw it from 10 feet away, and there's not much chance of that thing landing.
Speaking of being 10 feet away, Brad just looks like he hasn't quite got that spacing down in this fight. He's stayed way on the outside and been unable, really, for most of this fight to get inside to do any punching.
I think that was a bit of his strategy. He knew his conditioning is going to be a bit of a factor here. He didn't know that he was going to have to fight until Joseph, unfortunately had to back out. So I think he didn't want to get in and mix it up with Adam. He's trying to stick with the game plan, but it might backfire just a little bit because Adam's good on the inside, he's good on the outside. He's just a well-rounded fighter.
Well, and if the judges are looking at it the way you did going into this round with Faulkner slightly in the lead, Brad's going to have to do something to regain that advantage. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're not really seeing him do it here. And I think, again, that conditioning factor is coming to play here. Brad just doesn't have it in the gas tank to come up and do something spectacular here in the third round.
Adam tagged him a couple of more times to the head with some right and left hands, and now just looks like willing to wait for that opportunity again to go over the top.
He threw another nice spinning back fist, and that was a nice move there. He did that spinning back fist, or the spinning back kick, which set up the spinning back fist. Unfortunately, might be a little too late, and I think Adam Faulkner is going to walk away with a unprecedented fourth championship in the Ultimate Combat.
Adam Faulkner, one of those guys that these, of course, couch potatoes that are sitting at home always say, I'd like to get in the ring and have a shot at that guy. And
not mentioning any names, Jamal, Jarvis.
A lot of guys out there. Here's our Two Cats Stat Combat Can. Again, going to show the action from round 3. A good fight from both guys. Once again, though, I think the postman is going to come out on top.
Well, let's see what the judges say in this one as we wait for the scores to be tallied. Crowd is silent. 30-27 by our third judge.
Boy, I thought it was a lot closer than that.
Yeah, it's going to be Adam Faulkner, so there you go. Again, another championship under his belt, the lightweight champion, Adam the Postman Faulkner tonight.
Well, deservedly so. This kid, nobody works harder than him, and he's a class act, 100%.
You can see the crowd gathered ringside. They do love this guy. Our post-fight interview sponsored by Knight Transportation.
All right, we're here with Bad Brad, Taylor Brad, man. Hey, you're a warrior, dude. You guys, every time you fight, it's a battle. Adam walked away with the win, man, but it wasn't easy for him. I know it. You know it. Everybody knows it. How do you feel, and what are you going to do so next time you fight, the outcome's a little different?
I need to be a more aggressive fighter. He's aggressive. He was on me. That's what I need to do. I need to come out with my game face on. I didn't bring it.
So basically what you're saying is next time you're going to be a little bit better trained. You have a little bit more wind under your feet. But, hey, man, you're tougher than hell, Brad, and I want everyone to know that. Hey, Adam Faulkner's bad. Bad's Brad, too, man, and that was a tough fight. You did a hell of a job. And, I think if you guys get at it again and you get your game face on, it might be a little bit different. That's what you're trying to say, right?
Yeah.
Okay, brother. Well, hey, man, nice job, and we'll see you again, man. What's up?
Comments from the champ, sponsored here by Custom Fit Nutrition.
Hey, man, the postman delivered once again. That was, without question, one of the tougher fights you've had.
Yeah, Brad always gives me a good fight every time. You can't ever count that guy out. It's a tough kid.
Is that kid a gritty competitor or what?
Yeah, a couple times I thought he was going down. I thought he was going to give up. Kept coming back.
I'll tell you what, hey, unprecedented though. Four-timer, man, it's a four-peat. Even the Lakers can't claim that. You're the champion, how does it feel?
Feels great, feels just as good as the first time. Every win's just as important.
All right, great job, Adam. He's still undefeated, man. The postman, nobody can touch this kid in the lightweight division.
So awesome. He's so awesome. Personally, I love this kid. He's my favorite kickboxer in the tournament, and that's why, because he's unbeatable. He's awesome. You love him.
He's the postman. Stick around. We got a lot more of the Ultimate Combat coming up.
Ultimate Combat is looking for kickboxers, boxers, and no-holds-barred fighters who want to fight in the Ultimate Combat experience. Call 755-7843 and find out how you can test yourself in the best fighting show in town. Let's see what you've got. If you want to fight, see the show live, or order Ultimate Combat tapes, DVDs, or merchandise, be part of the experience. Call now, area code 801-755-7843. Bring it on.
Welcome back. It's the little guys and no holds barred. The Sugar and the Gobler. What do you know about these guys, Johnny?
Both guys. Man, these guys are tough. You got one kid wrestled at Kearns, one kid wrestled at Cypress. Both wrestlers, both kind of a similar style, a little bit of submission.
West Side
yeah,
boys?
but they're both tough. They're both warriors, so it's going to be a battle.
Hey, I think Gubler wants to go to the ground. He was a state champion wrestler in Zimmer. He's got some boxing skills. He's going to want to stand up. This is going to be an absolute war.
The Gobbler, Ryan Gubler, a Jiu Jitsu fighter from West Valley, entered the tournament to try and submit the competition. His first opponent, a street fighter, Mike Shine Munoz, who said he was going to take over the NHB flyweight division. Gubler was not impressed by the attitude of Munoz and made it very clear in the ring that if anybody were going to take over the game, it would be him. He did just that in his first match as he took the shine and the victory away from Mike Munoz. Gubler was looking to get the title, but would have to earn it from the current champ, Eddie Sugar Zimmer. Zimmer came back in round 4 and was looking to repeat as flyweight champion. His first match was against a state champion wrestler, the King, Chris King. King and Zimmer went back and forth as their styles of fighting clashed. The match was a tug of war to see who would get the upper hand until the second round when King went flying out of the ring. King was knocked out momentarily while out of the ring, which meant the match would be called a draw. Both fighters were eager to continue, but would have to wait until the rematch to see who would prevail as victor. Meanwhile, the Gobbler was still on his quest to tap out the competition. His next challenger came from the streets where he was bred as a fighter. Josh Martinez, a self-trained fighter, thought he had what it took to win the tournament. Although Gubler quickly took him down and showed Martinez why street fighting doesn't belong in organized fighting. As Gubler's victories grew, so did his confidence.
He's a good fighter, but you know, first time in the ring.
What can we expect to see out of you? Every time we see you get in the ring, you make quick work out of your opponent. You gonna take Sugar out?
I'm gonna take Sugar out.
Let him know. Say, Sugar, I'm coming after you.
Bye, Sugar. Bye.
It didn't take long for the Gobbler to start sending messages to Sugar.
Hey, you know, I want it as bad as you do. I guess tonight we'll see who wants it the worst.
Meanwhile, Zimmer was busy fighting his rematch against Chris King. The rematch was once again a war of contrasting fighting styles. Although this time Zimmer was prepared to fight on the canvas as well as on his feet. King, too, showed that he was prepared for anything except that one big shot.
He's a good fighter. He's the best fighter I've fought yet. I want this championship more than he does.
Wasn't ready last time I fought him. I was way ready this time. I've been training left and right.
Indeed, it was that one big shot that ended it all. There was no sugarcoating this right hook as the King hit the floor. The thunderous hit showed just how dangerous Zimmer was on his feet. The big shot would end the match and send Zimmer into the finals once again. In tonight's Flyweight NHB Championship, we'll see Eddie Sugar Zimmer defend his crown against the Gobbler, Ryan Gubler. Well, if you've watched Ultimate Combat leading up to finals night, you understand we just couldn't have a finals without Sugar in here, could we?
Sugar's been around last couple of rounds, dominating the competition. He and Robert Densley train together at Kearns High School. They do some boxing and wrestling up there.
Let's see what he had to say about tonight's matchup, going in for another title.
I'm just going to go out there swinging away. Hope I land some of them. I've heard he's a good submission fighter, a good wrestler. But I wrestled in high school. I know a couple things, so I'll just go out there and see what happens, I guess. I feel more comfortable standing up. I can go to the ground if I need to. I don't think anyone else thinks I'm a very good wrestler, so if I have to, I guess I'll be proving that tonight.
Sounds like he's ready to do whatever it takes tonight anyway.
I don't know who said he wasn't a good wrestler. He's always shown good skills on the ground. But Ryan Gubler's an accomplished wrestler himself. I believe he's a state champion out of Cypress High School.
I think this is the second time we've seen him since he's decided to dye that chin hair, isn't it?
Yeah. Hey, he's got a fashion statement here. He works at the post office with Adam Faulkner. He's another one of your mailmen out there carrying the mail for you.
Coming in at 5'5", 135 for this matchup.
Well, I don't plan on boxing with him, that's for sure, but I plan on hurting him a bit, so.
Are you planning on ending this fight with a choke or a submission?
Oh, definitely. I know I've been watching his fights. He leaves things open. I'm going to capitalize on it. Gobble sugar for breakfast.
Gobble sugar for breakfast. This guy's snappy.
There you go. You got to play along with that nickname. Both of these guys are hard-nosed fighters, though.
Mike, you told him to say that, didn't you?
No, I'm not nearly that witty.
5'9", 132 for Sugar, 5'5", 125 for Ryan Gubler, and they'll get some last-minute instructions again from our referee for this matchup, Lonnie Foster.
And you know, as all of our finals matchups, this is another one I've been waiting to see. These kids are both just good kids, both good wrestlers, both very talented. We've seen them both fight before.
And we'll have the matchup when we come back. Welcome back to the Ultimate Combat Experience. Just about to get underway with the match, round number 1 between Gubler and Zimmer.
Gubler's looking to land some big bombs. He's got a boxing background, Zimmer's looking to land those big bombs. Gubler isn't really all that adept on his feet. He's going to shoot in and take him down, as we see right
That's
here.
exactly what he did, yeah. And you heard Zimmer say he's heard rumblings anyway, that there's a lot of people out there that don't think he's a good wrestler, so he had something to prove on the ground tonight. We'll see what he does.
Zimmer looks pretty comfortable down there. He wants to probably turn in and pull Gubler into his guard or try to get an escape, but he's just kind of relaxing right here, which is a big step up from what we used to see from him. He kind of used to spaz out a little bit on the bottom. He's becoming a little more experienced on the ground.
Zimmer's doing a good job of locking that left arm of Gubler and not enabling him to swing his leg over. I think Gubler would like to do that, but rather than just giving him a big bear hug, Eddie's got that arm locked up pretty tight.
Yeah, but he's fighting defensively, and I don't like to see that. I'd like to see you always working offense, even when you're on the bottom. Try to improve your position rather than just kind of hiding out. So interesting tactic there. I'm not seeing Gubler do much to press the action either. Like he's doing here, he just threw a nice knee to the body. He needs to do a little more of that.
Well, yeah, now Zimmer has released that hold on the arm, or at least he did momentarily, and you didn't see Gubler. And this has been a criticism of those that are trained mostly in wrestling of ours before, that he's not throwing that leg over to gain that full mount position and start going to work.
Yeah, he could really improve his position here just by stepping over into full mount and dropping those bombs down we've seen before. He's throwing some nice body shots here, but I think he'd have more of an effect if he took full mount and threw those to the head.
There he goes.
About time.
Yeah. Now Eddie's got no choice but to hold on or make his way to the side of the ring to try and get the referee to have him reset, but instead he rolls over.
Gubler should have pointed him toward the center of the ring. He looks like he's sliding on a nice little chokehold here, though.
Yeah, he does indeed, and he's locked it, too.
You want to keep your opponent in the center. Don't let him scoot off here. And he should have taken care of that before. Now they're probably getting close to the edge, though. Lonnie's going to have to step in.
All those guys losing their dreams.
Well, oh, he tapped.
Was that a tap, or was he going to reset him?
No, he just about stepped in, and right before he stepped in, Eddie Zimmer tapped. That chokehold was on pretty tight, though.
Well, I was about to say the last referee you want to try and get to, reset you from the rope side is Lonnie Foster. He'll do everything he can to keep the action moving.
Oh, he'll push the ropes out of the way and let you determine the fight, as we talked about a little bit before. Let the fighters determine the outcome. Eddie Zimmer, he tapped, and it doesn't look like he's too happy about it. We'll take a look at it here on the slow-mo Two Cats Tattoos Combat Cam.
There are those body blows that he was landing there, and I thought for a while there that Zimmer was just going to lay there and take it, checking those abdominals.
But yeah, this is a sign of inexperience here, giving up your back, Ryan Gubler really capitalized on it, put a nice chokehold on.
Eddie thought he was going to gain an advantage by trying to roll out of that, and instead he just made the opportunity all the better for Ryan Gubler to lock it on with a submission hold, and so there it is. Didn't take long. Your flyweight champion tonight, Ryan the Gobbler Gubler. Look at that smile.
He doesn't smile like that when he's delivering the mail, though.
That's a good thing. He probably scared the old lady down the street. Here's our post-fight interview with Sugar, sponsored tonight by Night Transportation.
Hey, without
question, one of my favorite guys in this tournament, Eddie Zimmer. Nobody trains harder than this guy. Nobody works harder than this guy. I know he works a 60-hour work week. Man, I hate to see you go out like that, but, you know, I'm sure we'll see more of you. How do you feel right now, Eddie?
I'm a little pissed off. I should have trained a little harder. He said I trained the hardest, but obviously it looks like he did today, so I'll be back. I'll be back.
That's what I'm talking about, man. This kid is he's a champion, he's a warrior, and he's a gentleman, too. Eddie Zimmer, I love you, man. I appreciate you fighting. I hope we see more of you, buddy.
Definitely will.
And our post-fight comments from our champion tonight from Custom Fit Nutrition.
All right, we're here with Ryan, the Gubler. What's up, baby? Hey, tough fight tonight. Hey, you know Eddie Zimmer is no slouch, and you came out, and classic. Smooth takedown, rolled over you, submitted him with the choke. I mean, how do you feel about tonight's fight? You got to be stoked, baby.
Yeah, more like powdered sugar.
Oh, what up? I'm talking a little smack, but hey, you did it, man. You came out and you did what you said you're going to do, and you fought a tough kid, and you beat him. So now you're the champion, man. How do you feel? What do you want to say to all these guys that think they're going to come up and take your spot?
Ain't happening.
The Gobbler, as he has been doing, has been gobbling up the competition. Hey, Sugar was no slouch, but Gobbler wins it. He's the champion.
Did a great job. I was going to say Zimmer is no slouch. That kid is tough, and Gobbler took it to him and really put the hurt on him.
All right, we're going to have a quick commercial break here, but you definitely want to come back. It's our main event tonight. Johnny Ritchie, tell him about it.
You got the People's Warrior, Josh Burkman, versus the Militant, Brian Garlick. I mean, there's, like you said, some bad blood, so these guys definitely want to cause each other some pain.
All right, heavyweight, no holds barred, coming up.
Ultimate Combat is looking for kickboxers, boxers, and no-holds-barred fighters who want to fight in the Ultimate Combat experience. Call 755-7843 and find out how you can test yourself in the best fighting show in town. Let's see what you've got. If you want to fight, see the show live, or order Ultimate Combat tapes, DVDs, or merchandise, be part of the experience. Call now, area code 801-755-7843. Bring it on.
It all comes down to this, the main event, Johnny Ritchie, the Militant. Brian Garlick against the People's Warrior, Josh Burkman. There's been a little bad blood building up on this thing. Tell us a little bit about that, Johnny.
There has, and it all starts when Brian Garlick beats the piss out of Josh Burkman's older brother, Jared, and he did it in high fashion. He went in there and he took it to him, and Josh says, hey, that's my older brother. I put this guy on a pedestal. I look at this guy like he's the guy that beat me up. I'm going to take a little bit of my revenge out, and I'm going to whoop Brian Garlick, and that's what he's planning on doing. So
and I've been watching Josh Burkman get ready for this thing. He has been training hard. Hey, this thing's brought to you by Mountain High Motorsports. It's all about the high. It's the main event. Check it out.
Tonight's main event is all about bad blood. A newcomer, Brian the Militant Garlick, found himself in the middle of a family affair early on in the tournament. Garlick punished his second opponent, Jared Burkman, in convincing fashion. But to the dismay of current light heavyweight champion, the People's Warrior, Josh Burkman. Burkman was not pleased by his older brother's loss and vowed to get his revenge.
I think within the next couple weeks, you're going to have to fight his little brother, the People's Warrior.
Oh, Josh. Big bad Burkman, be ready, brother.
Garlick proved he belonged in the finals as he beat all three of his previous opponents. Garlick believed that he had gained the experience and confidence to beat anybody, including the People's Warrior. During this time, Josh Burkman was making light work of his competition. Burkman quickly defeated his first two opponents and let everyone know that it was all about redemption. Who will come out on top? We'll find out next as these two warriors look to make a statement in tonight's light heavyweight NHB championship. Well, guys, I don't think it's advisable to call out the People's Warrior on any occasion, do you?
I don't know. The Brian Garlick, though, people feel like if anybody can knock him off, it would be the Militant. He's a pretty talented fighter, and he's beat some pretty tough kids.
See him out of Cedar Valley, Utah, at 6 foot 2 inches tall and 192 pounds. He certainly has gained confidence throughout the last round. Let's see what he had to say about tonight's action.
Yeah, tonight I do feel pretty refreshed, just nice and relaxed. Took a little nap today when I got home. Got a little lunch and nap, and things going pretty good. The relentless pursuit of victory. We can stand up, we can go to the ground. I've been working on my ground game a little bit this week and hitting the heavy bag as always, so it doesn't matter. We'll just see what happens. Oh, Josh, big bad Burkman, be ready, brother. Be ready.
Sending a message.
Well, I don't know if is that the message you want to send? Josh Burkman, one of the toughest guys without a doubt. But, boy, there's a face of confidence, I would say, on the part of Brian Garlick tonight. But here he comes, the people's warrior, and the crowd loves this guy.
You know, there's a lot to love about him. He's a showman, but he's done everything he said he would. You know, people say he talks, but he walks the walk as well. He's beaten everybody up that we put in front of him.
He also weighs in at 195, but comes in just a few inches shorter at 5 foot 10 inches tall. And see if he makes that customary stop. Oh, he's going to punch the wall here.
Well, I've been working actually on my game above ground a little bit, getting away from the ground game. Want to see what I can do on my feet, like I said before, but this time I'm really going to try to, and then maybe take it to the ground eventually. I'm going to go for the knockout early, really early. Fill it out real quick. I'm going to go for the knockout. If that doesn't work, I'm going to go to the ground where I've been successful before.
I think you went out for the knockout really early, like his way into the ring when he got that guy in that dark hallway, huh, Tim?
Yeah, there's that stop in front of the ropes I was about to allude to a moment ago. He loves to stop and let the crowd give him one more cheer before he steps inside the ropes.
Hey, we talked about it. He's a showman, but you know what? He deserves to be a show. The kid's beating everybody that we put in front of him. He's called out everybody in the state of Utah. If you want it, come get it. And this is the best they've got. Brian Garlick, and we're going to see a great fight tonight, I'm sure.
To see the crowd ringside chanting, Burkman, Burkman. The one thing that an opponent has yet to do with Burkman is take him into the later rounds and see what he's got at that point. And I'm sure that's what Garlick's thinking about right now.
That's since way back in, I believe, round 3 when Hank the Vice Weiss took him in round 2, man. So, yeah, Josh Burkman's been tearing up the competition since that time. He realized that, hey, conditioning's a factor, but since then nobody's had to press him, and so he hasn't had to show his conditioning.
All right, here we go. Let's get it on.
Coming out with a leg kick to start with, something we haven't seen out of Josh Burkman before.
He's going to make a quick takedown here. He has landed some big takedowns on opponents early.
Well, that was reminiscent of the Hank Weiss takedown where he dropped him on his back and knocked Hank Weiss right out.
He immediately straddles him, gets him in a full mount, and now he wants to go, as he said in the pre-fight interview, for that quick knockout. He just can't get to the head of Garlick at the moment.
Brian Garlick doing a good job of closing the gap there, not making himself available for those big shots that he landed in a fight a couple fights back where he knocked his opponent out.
Ropes might get in the way here, but again, Lonnie Foster's in the ring, so that'll be the last thing that resets this fight, I guarantee you. And you're right, Garlick's holding on tight, but that's going to hurt him, I would think, if he does want this one to go into the later rounds.
Yeah, we talked about it, how it makes your arms fatigued, but also, we talked a little bit earlier in an earlier fight that you always want to be on your offense. Don't be satisfied with a defensive posture, because then you're losing a fight in both the minds of the fans as well as the judges.
We don't talk about it very often, but what's the best way to get out of a situation like this if you're down there on the bottom?
Best way is not to get in this situation.
Well, okay, once you're there, though.
A mount position is a superior position, and to me, you've got to be scrambling. You've got to do everything you can to get out of here, because as you can see, you can take a lot of punishment. Josh Burkman dropping big shots on Brian Garlick there.
Well, and right now, Burkman just satisfied with laying on him and, again, making Garlick play the defensive moves here and hold him off.
Well, Burkman's already landed some big shots. He's well in the lead as far as judges are concerned. Right? He's going to camp out for a minute here, pick his shots, be patient. Nice work by Josh Burkman.
And again, we talk about this with Adam Faulkner all the time, that through the experience of round 2, 3, and now 4 of Ultimate Combat, we've seen him gain a lot of patience in the ring. I would say that's true of Burkman as well, because he used to come out and really just be frenzied in the early moments of a fight.
Yeah, absolutely. There's absolutely nothing better than ring time. Getting in there, spending time in the ring, win, lose, or draw. The more fights you can get them. You learn how to fight. You learn from wins. You learn from losses. But you can see Josh Burkman has truly matured as a fighter, and there is nobody in Utah that can beat him in this heavyweight division.
Boy, there's a couple of shots, 2, 3, 4 to the head of Brian Garlick, and when he's not throwing that right bomb, you can see that Burkman's laying that forearm across the bridge of the nose of Garlick, and now he forces his head back down to get another shot at him and takes that shot.
Burkman's given up. There's an obvious arm lock here where Brian Garlick's extending his arms, trying to push Burkman off him. Again, Josh Burkman isn't all that experienced on the ground. He's gaining that experience. He's more of a ground and pound. He's going to lay those big shots on you. If he learns some submission, he's going to be deadly.
Well, and that well-documented bad blood because of the victory of Brian Garlick over his older brother, Burkman's older brother, I would think also would keep him away from a submission. He wants to punish Brian, don't you think?
Well, Josh did mention that to me before the fight. He says, I want to go out and punish him a little bit. And the other thing, you know, when who could forget when Scott Wilberger was choked out by Brian Garlick. Scott Wilberger, a close friend of Josh Burkman, so there's a lot of bad blood been building up over the weeks since this tournament began.
Well, Garlick holds on, so we make it to the end of round number 1, and Josh showing a little bit of fatigue there, but
you know, a little bit, but not bad. He's nice and relaxed. He's comfortable. It looks like he's listening to his corner, and we'll see how he implements the strategy here. We're going to take a look at once again on our Two Cats Tat combat cam and see what happened in the first round, and that was a big slam by Josh Burkman.
Yeah, you can make a whole show on just those opening slams that Burkman puts on people. They always look just like this, and he'll throw his legs out, full strength and weight of his body coming down on the opponent.
You can see Brian Garlick was trying to put that front headlock on, but when you get dropped that hard, it's tough to do.
Round number 2 coming up. Stay with us. And lays it out.
You know, I saw Brian Garlick slip
There's the
there.
tap.
And
just like that.
Yeah, well, Josh Burkman put that front headlock on and put it on tight and ended this thing early in the second round.
That's a tough decision on the part of Brian Garlick. Look at the fans ringside. They love this guy. A tough decision, though, for an opponent because you obviously want to keep him from shooting in on you again so that he gets another one of those big takedowns. But
Well,
as soon as you lower your head.
I saw Brian Garlick slip on the canvas there, which, you know, there's probably wet in the corner there, and he's probably got a legitimate complaint. You know, we try to get those things cleaned up as best as possible, but he was put in an awkward position, and Josh Burkman took advantage of it. We'll check this out here on the Two Cats Tattoo combat cam here. See if we can just see the finish there from Josh Burkman.
Boy, just watch these swings. Coming around, missed
See
with that
Brian
one.
Garlick slip right there,
Yeah, he
and
did,
you know, that is part of the ring. It's unfortunate, but you know, Josh Burkman had just as much opportunity to slip on it as well, but Brian Garlick winds up on the bottom of that, and Josh Burkman's your champ.
Very disappointed. You can see Garlick, but Josh, the People's Warrior Burkman, is your champion in our finals night. Congratulations again to Josh. And our post-fight interview with Brian Garlick, sponsored tonight by Night Transportation.
My man, the militant Brian Garlick. Hey, this is the toughest son of a. I'm telling you that right now. I don't care. Pound for pound, Garlick. He's put on a show. He's fought tough for us. He had a hell of a fight in Josh Burkman. You did a good job, brother. You came out. You both traded some bombs. He just caught you without submission. How do you feel?
Yeah. I could feel better.
Yeah.
No, I feel all right. And you know, this is just, I wanted to see where I stood coming into this round. Now I know, I guarantee you, a month or whatever it is, I'll be back in here. That won't happen again.
Hey, you know what? And there's thousands of people at home that are saying, I hope that guy comes back, because you have a big fan base. People love you. You're a humble fighter. You kick a lot of ass. And hey, man, I got a lot of respect for you. And so does everybody that watches this show. So congratulations, Brian. Hey, you had a hell of a fight. And I can't wait to see you again, man. Nice job. Appreciate it.
And let's see what the champion has to say, sponsored by Custom Fit Nutrition.
The People's Warrior does it for the people once again, baby.
I gotta get in a little bit better shape, huh?
What'd you breathe so hard for, man?
He's a tough dude. I just want to keep it on my feet, but seems to always go to the ground, man.
Hey, Brian Garlick's the real deal. It was a good fight.
A lot better than I thought. I should have prepared probably a little bit harder, but I know now. He's a tough guy, man. Give him a lot of props.
I'll tell you what, you're the heavyweight champion, brother. How's it feel?
Feels good, man. I'm not going nowhere.
Toughest guy in Utah.
Oh, yeah. I'd like to thank DeMarco, Custom Nutrition, Saab with Global Marketing Network, and Mike Stidham with Ultimate Combat, man.
Thanks, baby.
Thanks for
Hey,
everything you guys do.
Thank you, Josh Burkman. Appreciate it. Congratulations. That's why they call it the Ultimate Combat Experience, Johnny Ritchie. That was the finals. We've crowned our champions, but you definitely want to check out next week at 10 o'clock the best of the best of round 4. It's going to be highlights from all the fights all the way throughout round 4. That's going to be awesome. Thinking about it, you can remember some of the tough fights we had.
Oh, yeah, amazing. This round 4 is here. The fighters are getting bigger and better and stronger and more competitive, and it's just getting bigger and better. So, yeah, definitely next week is going to be the best of the best.
Hey, we got a lot of more good things coming up. We got a new venue we're going to be at. We got a lot of new fighters coming in. If you got questions about any of that stuff, or if you want to pick yourself up one of these Got Blood t-shirts or any of the videos or DVDs of any of our past fights, check us out on the web at ultimatecombat.com. Hey, if you haven't seen this website lately, check it out now because it is awesome. Hey, we want to thank all our sponsors who brought us round 4. Man, we couldn't have done it without you. Thank you. Thank you for watching. It's the Ultimate Combat Experience. We'll see you next week.
This week's special edition of the Ultimate Combat Experience brings you all the best fights and all the heart-stopping action from round 4. Don't miss the Ultimate Combat Experience every Sunday night at a new time, 10 o'clock on Utah's new UPN, Z24 TV.